Hello there, it's Films Recapped here with a brand new video. Warning, before we begin, there will be spoilers ahead. Today, I'm going to describe Color Out of Space, an American mystery and horror science fiction film. A woman is performing a ceremony by the river. Lavinia Gardner is her name. Ward Phillips, a man, approaches her unexpectedly. A hydrologist doing a survey in that location. She decides to return home because he has disrupted the ceremony. Her parents, Nathan Gardner and Teresa Gardner, greet her at home. She also has two younger brothers, Benny and Jack Gardner. They do their respective activities that night after they have dinner together. Lavinia and Jack are attempting to sleep. Benny is playing computer games with his dog, and their parents are having a wonderful time. Jack abruptly awakens from his slumber due to fear. He exits the room, and a purple light appears outside their home. He then promptly contacts his parents, but they do not answer. He screamed furiously as he appeared to be swallowed into the light. Hearing Jack's cry, everyone rushes over to check on him, and they notice a weird odor and thick smoke outside. They leave the house to investigate the source of the odor. Finally, they discover a purple object in their yard that has a weird odor and is smoky, while Jack remains stunned in the house. The next day, they contact Mayor Toomer to inquire about the weird object. Ward unexpectedly arrives at their home and inquires about it. According to him, it is a harmless meteorite. Ward later requests the family for assistance in driving him to someone who also resides in the region. Benny introduces Ward to a man named Ezra. Ward notices anything unusual in the drink. As a result, he requests that Ezra keep his water for future research purposes. It thunders and pours at night. Surprisingly, the lightning is purple. It then hits the meteorite that had fallen in Lavinia's yard while she was enjoying the rain. Not long after, her father summons her to the house. When Ward is researching the water that Ezra has given him, he receives a phone call, although the voice is not particularly distinct. He also notices a purple light behind the bushes, and his automobile starts on its own. Nathan and his wife see that the meteorite has vanished from their yard the next morning. They are grateful, but they are unaware that the meteorite has fused with the ground and poisoned the water in that location. When Teresa is slicing carrots, the meteorite's impact becomes apparent. She sliced off two of her fingers inadvertently at the moment. As a result, Nathan drives her to the hospital. The children are at home without their parents, and Benny is alone responsible for the house. Benny looks after his father's alpaca the next morning, while Lavinia relaxes with a cup of coffee. She notices Jack sitting alone in the yard and subsequently approaches her younger brother. She is perplexed by what her brother is doing. He claims to be speaking with someone who is at the well in their yard, despite the fact that he is not. Lavinia doesn't see anyone. When she enters the home, Jack goes to the well, and then a grasshopper appears out of nowhere. But the grasshopper is purple and has a really menacing face. To cut a long story short, Nathan and his wife are driving home from the hospital. They almost ran over a strange animal on the way. Fortunately, they make it home safely. At the time, Jack is standing alone outside the house. Nathan then chastises Benny and Lavinia for failing to properly care for their brother. Lavinia informs her father that this area is becoming strange, but he is unconcerned about his children's statements. Nathan later becomes dissatisfied after discovering that his most recent crop of fruits has proven to be inedible. He is oblivious to the fact that the foliage and insects in the area have turned purple. Teresa loses her cool after losing a work customer owing to a faulty internet connection, resulting in a brawl between the two. Nathan's hands become wrinkled. Perhaps this is a result of the filthy water. Their television begins to lose signal as well. The same night, Lavinia attempts to undertake a ritual involving the Necronomicon and the offering of her blood in order to save her family, mutilating herself in the process. Benny and Jack visit the alpaca farm. They discover that the alpacas have transformed into a terrifying odd beast. A flash of color appears, prompting them to flee the stable. Their mother rushes up to Jack and embraces him, but the purple bolt strikes them. When Lavinia sees her mother's body and sees Nathan and Jack fused together, she's astounded. Nathan wants to take them to the hospital, but he is upset because the car and all of the technological devices will not start. Ward plans to return to Lavinia's house soon since a friend has discovered an animal in the neighborhood that appears to have been burned by radiation. Later, Lavinia and Benny want to get out of there. They wish to flee with their horses, but their horses are unable to be controlled and instead flee. Benny, meantime, hears his dog in the well. He decides to search the well for his dog. The purple light suddenly reignites from within and absorbs him. He vanishes in a second, which makes Lavinia heartbroken. Her father abruptly forces her into the house. He then locks his daughter in the room where his wife and Jack will be fed. Ward and his friend arrive at the residence shortly after. He is taken aback when he notices Nathan's strange expression. Then he hears Lavinia's cry and goes over to her. When he enters the room, he is astounded to discover that Teresa has transformed into a terrifying creature. Nathan quickly shoots his own wife to death. Nathan rushes outside to shoot the color rising from the well, but Ward's companion misinterprets Nathan's aim and fatally shoots him. Ward and his pal went to Ezra's residence to see how he is. When they arrive, they discover that Ezra has transformed into a monster. They decide to flee, but his friend gets trapped by the mutated tree branches above them. Ward rushes as fast as he can to get away from the light. Then he comes across Lavinia beside the well, only to discover that she too has transformed into a monster. The odd glow has polluted her entire body. A whirlwind approaches her and completely absorbs her body. Ward, terrified, runs into the home, but instead meets Nathan, who is still alive. Despite being shot dead, he miraculously resurrects. Ward hides in the wine cellar as the color's distortion of reality destroys the property, leaving him as the lone survivor as he climbs out of the farmland's ruins, now a colorless, ashy blasted heath. In the epilogue, a terrified Ward stands atop the completed dam that encircles the previous property. Subscribe to see more videos like this one. Please turn on alerts and give a like to support the channel, and thank you for watching.